Tired of winning the tailgate but losing the games? We can't help that. But we can tell you what the hell is up with each team and what's going on across sunny San Marcos. Texas State fans, get on your feet. You're listening to Squaring Around with Jakob Rodriguez and Andrew Zimmel.
Zimmel, are you excited for baseball, buddy?
I always am excited for baseball, Jacob, mostly because it's my first and favorite sport, but also because this is the most successful men's team on campus. So I have to root for them.
And they signed Trout to a 5-year extension last year.
Bag watching, bro.
Bag watching. I'm for everybody getting paid is my thing. And so I just want to make sure everybody's getting paid. And after the season that the Bobcats had, if we didn't try to get Trout, I was going to be very upset. He was the first head coach we got to cover too. We kind of talk about that a little bit. But yeah, as soon as they did that, I started seeing, he was talking about like, just continuity for the program and, blah, 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 whatever they want to do this year. I'm immediately thinking, Texas State's a baseball school. We're allocating money. This is how you get donors. So two opposite ends of the spectrum. But Trout explains everything very succinctly.
Texas State's 3 biggest exports: 1 teachers, 2 alcoholics, 3 baseball players. So 2 of those 3 can donate money to the baseball program. So
they're about to be exporting hope pretty soon to the rest of the athletics department too.
I like that.
So this is Square Talks with Stephen Trout. What's up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Squaring Around. This is Square Talks, where we talk to Texas State coaches, Texas State players, and everything that makes Texas State athletics tick. We're joined by head coach of the baseball team, Stephen Trout. Coach, thanks for joining us. It was a monster season you guys had last year. Looking to do more of the same always. But I really am super excited to talk to you because I think you were my first head coaching hire that I got to cover at the Star. Zimmel picked me up. This is the day I got back from a study abroad trip to Japan, and he took me to a party that night. It was probably the worst thing you could do for jet lag. And then the next day I was at your press conference covering you. I could barely hold a camera in my hand. So it's just awesome to see what you've done with the program.
That's great. Now, first, thanks for having me on. And also, you guys have this podcast. Yeah, anything we can promote the program, promote the university, the athletic department, all the above, I'm all in for. So appreciate you guys having me on.
In my defense, coach, that party was a lot better before I brought Jacob to it. And by the time we got back from the airport, it was dead. So it kind of was a waste. I thought it was a great party. We had a good time. I want to ask you, so there's a bunch of baseball questions we can talk about last season. I want to ask you this. Do you have a cool nickname? Because I always thought Big Fish was a really cool nickname for guys like Salmon and Trout. Did you never get that? Anybody ever give that to you?
Nah, I mean, growing up, you'd hear the joke usually from another team or crowd of, Rainbow or something like that for the Rainbow Trout. So no, it's just stuck with Trouty. Trouty's the only thing that kind of happens. So players call it, coaches call it, everybody calls it. So
okay,
Tom called me Trouty too. So whatever. So we figured out. So nope, that's usually it.
All right. Well, when
16 on Twitter. So
yeah, there you go.
When Jacob said we were having you, I said we got the Big Fish. So all right, I'm happy. We can get into it. Let's talk about last season because last season reset the bar, I think, for Texas State baseball. Would you agree? Would you say that this now is there was a lot of success under Ty Harrington, but last season just felt special. What made it so different last year?
Yeah, I think it was a couple of things. I think, one, obviously all the records we set. Anytime you set a record, in my opinion, it doesn't matter how small or big or on what level, you broke a record, and that's really tough to do. And so that team last year set so many of them, and still some are still coming out with, and it's a result of selling most season tickets in school history and all sorts of stuff that has happened because of it. And so, yes, they definitely have taken our program to the next level. To back it up, we've had a lot of great teams here since I've been here, since Coach Harrington's been here, since Coach Bouchon's been here. So there's a lot of, rich tradition here in our history. And so, but yeah, this team just kind of, I think it was a little bit on the edge of the 21 season, right? Had a down year, had a lot of injuries for a lot of reasons. We had a really bad year, and we didn't run from that. We actually stared it right in the face and wanted to make change and wanted to make sure that never happened again. And so everything we asked them to do from, we brought a mental game coach that we worked with quite a bit through this past season, and then some small changes culture-wise we wanted to do. Just anything we asked them to do, they were all in because we kind of had them at the floor right now, trying to build this thing back up, and they took it all to the rooftops, and so it was just a fun year. And momentum is a key thing in sports. It's a really key thing in baseball. And as soon as you get those, the momentum and more importantly, the confidence that, hey, it's a one-run ball game, we're gonna find a way to win this game. It just tends to happen and happen and happen. Where the year before, I don't know how many one-run ball games we lost, just we couldn't get it done. And so a lot of things went into it. But like I said, when they got that confidence, they ran with it. And more importantly, they didn't stop. They weren't satisfied with just winning conference. They just kept winning and kept winning. Obviously, almost hosted a super regional, which is obviously still a dagger in the heart a little bit, but once again, it got people really excited about Texas State baseball, and it put our program that was already on the map on a bigger stage.
Tell me more about that mental coach, because did you have that when you were in high school and college and when you were playing ball? Like, and what does that do for our team? Yeah,
so the mental game is obviously a huge part of all sports, but especially baseball, right? We fail more than we succeed. So trying to get in that good frame of mind, plus as many games as we play, 3 games a weekend, 4 games a week. All the big league teams now usually have a mental game coach that they come in and just try to get them in the right frame of mind and able to stay in the present moment. So for us, honestly, it was a guy that I worked with back in 2006 when I played at TCU. We brought him in. We were the first team he ever worked with. And you probably heard the name Ken Revisa before, guys like that in the middle game. He actually worked under him. His name's Brian Kane. And so when we were coming back from Montgomery after the 21 season, it was like a 10-hour bus ride. And I was going through the year A to Z and trying to figure out, okay, when we get back in San Marcos, I got a plan together to figure out how to not let this ever happen, especially on my watch again. And so one of the biggest things I thought was we need to get in a better place mentally and be able to handle adversity better. And so, we talk with Brian all the time, and he comes in usually in the fall and helps us with in-game routines of how to, like I said, have a good deep breath and have just focus, trying to focus on pitch by pitch. It's a long game, 3-4 hour game, but you got to focus for 3 or 4 seconds at a time. And so be able to get over bat at bats and go play defense, or be able to get over a call, whatever it might be. So it just kind of changes your mindset. But it truly just makes you tougher. And to me, that's what tough is all about. It's not about, can I go beat a guy up or whatever it might be. It's about how strong can you be mentally. And the guys that play in the big leagues, obviously physically they're really talented, but mentally they're the toughest people out there. And so, we've carried it over to this year, and you can just see a difference in our guys. When something bad happens, we just get to the next moment because there's nothing you can do about it.
You talk about, that's really cool that y'all are doing that too. I was telling Zimmel off air though that in 2020 though that season was off to a great start as well, and then the world kind of fell apart. So to bounce back from 2020, which was a weird year in itself, and then 21, and you get all this steam behind you. Just talk about last year. This is amazing, really. I listened to the game, the last game, the Stanford game, last night, just in preparation for this. Even from that, it was just great to listen to.
Oh yeah, I mean, it was just day in and day out. And so, you go the 20-year, that was my first year as the head guy. And, we get it rolling, right? 14-4 heading into conference pretty much. And obviously got shut down. And then, I think with every team, with every sport, the one thing is you got to stay healthy. And 21, we didn't stay healthy. Some guys had to get kind of sped up in roles that they probably weren't ready for. And they started struggling. And then guys that, were kind of, I wouldn't say necessarily the role guys, but guys that, they had other guys around them that could help them out. Those guys were out of the lineup. And so they had to step up. And when you lose confidence, this game's really, really tough. And so, 22 was just fun. I still go back and watch, times when my kiddos go to bed and maybe my wife's already asleep. I'll get back on YouTube and click up some of those games and I watch the good moments. And then honestly, I still watch some of the bad moments. I watched the last walk-off hit, and, it still kind of fuels me to this day of, hey, like, I can't wait till we get that last out and we're on the other side of it, So I think in this game, you got to remain humbled and you got to stay motivated, and we're definitely not satisfied heading into this new year.
No, that is, honestly, that's really good motivation. We talked about a little bit about, the new, I don't know, is it a new standard? Is this a new bar? Where would you say?
Yeah, our goal every year, we don't set a whole lot of goals in our program. To me, the biggest thing is we want to be in the NCAA tournament. That is at the end of the regular season, at the end of the conference tournament, however we can get there. If we can get ourselves in the field of 64 to me, we've done our job. Now it depends on who gets hot at the right time and gets after it. So, there's small things like 40 wins and, of course we want to win the Sun Belt, but there's been years where we won the Sun Belt but didn't make the field of 64. So, and so to me, the whole goal of this program is we got to find a way, however that is, win the tournament, whatever it might be, to get into that field of 64. And so, but it has changed our guys, I think, their mindset a little bit. I think with, hadn't been to a regional 11 years, and all the guys that returned, they just got to experience. They got to see the hype. And obviously we played one of the more classic regionals you'll ever find out there, down to game 7 to the last inning and everything that happened. And so just all of that, they want that again. And more importantly, now they expect it again. It's not this thought out there of, hey, this regional everybody talks about. Now they've been there. Their feet have been on the ground. They've played. They've gotten swings. Jose Gonzalez has hit home runs in it. Hopefully he does it again. And so these guys, they want that again so bad. But they know it doesn't just happen because we show up and put our uniforms on. They know how hard they got to work. They know how hard we got to play, how locked in we got to be. And more importantly, how good our culture has to stay through adversity. And so I'll be honest with you, we didn't have a lot of adversity last year inside of our program. We didn't have a lot of injuries. Besides the 1 week where we lost 3 games, 1 to A&M and 2 to Georgia Southern, we really never had a losing week last year. And so there wasn't a lot of adversity. And so we always prep for that. We know it's coming, an injury's coming, a bad week's coming. To me, how do you get to the next moment? Do you let it snowball into a losing streak, or do you find a way to get mentally tough and get over it? And so I think this group understands that. But like I told them the other day, it's a new group, right? We got returners, we got new guys. Now we got to find a way that when adversity hits, we feel like our culture is really good right now. It's going to get tested here over the next 3 or 4 weeks when all of a sudden we lose a game, or all of a sudden there's only 9 guys in the lineup, or all of a sudden I don't get to throw in a weekend. How does that change your team? And hopefully our culture stays strong and we keep battling through it.
Well, let's talk about the pitching staff this year, Coach, because I don't want to say it's the best that you've ever had, but I want to say it's the best that you probably have had at Texas State under your reign as the head coach. A bunch of guys get nominated for the preseason team. I know that doesn't mean a ton to a head coach because it's the preseason awards. You kind of want the postseason awards, I think, more. But you got to feel pretty good that everybody's looking at Texas State's pitching staff and saying, like, this might be the best of the Sun Belt.
Yeah, I've never been part of a championship team that didn't have really good pitching. And pitching and defense has to be there. Obviously, if you can mix in some great offense, that's big. But if you're only trying to score 2 or 3 runs a game and not trying to score 8 to 10, makes life a little easier. And so, I would say it's a pretty true statement going on paper that this is probably a deeper pitching staff. We probably have more quality arms than we've ever had since I've been here. I think the key now is trying to figure out some of those roles that we lost. Obviously, we lost the sophomore of the year in the country, and that's hard to find. That's hard to replace. And it might not be one guy just to replace him in Stivers. And so we got to figure out how to close baseball games out. We got some options. But some of them have never closed a Division I baseball game. And so that's going to be part of the transition of figuring this thing out. But yeah, when you go with, Zeke Wood and Levi Wells, just to start it off, in your starting rotation, that's a pretty good 1-2 punch. And so I feel like we have 2 aces going on Friday and Saturday, and that's going to be challenging. And then mixing in some new guys and some returners that have developed. It's a deep pitching staff. And so we'll get tested early. Week 2, we actually have 5 games. And so we have double midweeks that week. And so, which I'm excited for. That's the time and when your staff, you feel like you have all those arms. So they get a chance to get out there and figure it out. And so, and with our program, how you do when you get the ball determines on if you get the ball back or not. So when we hand it to you, don't give it back to us. Go get outs. And that's how you get more innings. And so I'm excited about it. It's been fun. But like I said, just there is a lot of returners, which I'm really excited about. Still a lot of unproven guys or guys that haven't pitched for our program before that I'm excited to figure that out and figure out these roles, right? A valuable guy last year we lost besides Stivers was Matt Nicholas, right? He came in, sidearm guy, multiple times, guys in scoring position. He'd come in and, get a ground ball and a strikeout, and we were out of the jam. And so we got to figure out who is that guy. We got a guy like Dixon that we know that can do that. Who's that next guy to step in those roles? So we have the arm talent. We got to figure out the roles and hopefully figure it out as fast as we can as we're winning baseball games.
Well, Jacob and I always joke that I could always walk on if need be. If you had I'm a left-handed pitcher, I could always step up for you, Coach. But it doesn't sound like you're going to need me this year. Feels like you got a pretty good staff.
There's 2 speeds in pitching. There's above hitting speed and there's below hitting speed. Might be below hitting speed. I might need you. So let me know.
I'm more of a culture fit coach if you're looking for someone. So
Man, I got to have those guys too.
Yeah, there you go.
What do the bullpens look like? Do the bullpens look good so far in the spring?
Yeah, they have. We don't necessarily put them in those roles early in the spring. It's more, hey, we're getting our innings in. We're going to build our pitch counts to a certain extent. Actually, this weekend will be the first weekend that we kind of go, all right, these two guys are starting. You other guys in the bullpen, be ready. And so that's kind of the mindset this weekend. Start figuring out those guys. Those guys were thinking about closing. Hey, let's throw you one day, give you a day rest, and give you another day to see how you bounce back, because that's key as well. Stivers would throw 3 days in a row and be just as efficient on day 3 than he was on day 1. That's really hard to find. So we're not expecting anybody to be that. And so, like I said, we might have multiple guys that close games out, or guys maybe it's a 2-inning, 3-inning save, and then we go to somebody else the next day. And so, but so far so good. But it's a little different when that place is packed, the lights are on, there's another team in the dugout, and it's the real deal. So that's when the money's made. So we'll the practice is a little easier sometimes. So we'll wait to see what happens, and then we'll figure out our roles there.
You mentioned the stadium being jam-packed. Can you see a difference? Because I remember 6 years ago, it feels like now, going to my first Bobcat games on campus, and it was a good crowd, but the A&Ms, the Texas comes to town, the place is packed versus, say, a Lafayette or a Georgia Southern. But now it feels like every single game, you have a great crowd. Can you tell the difference as a coach? Can you tell the difference as a player when the stands are packed?
Yeah, you definitely can. And, but I think even going back to like the Texas game at home last year, it's always packed. We always sell it out. We always set a new attendance record. But just the energy they brought was off the charts. I mean, I've never heard our place that loud. And so it was just every game they were just so into it, because I think they started seeing, and people say all the time, winning cures a lot. And that's true. People want to come out. They want to support a winner.
I say that.
Come out and cheer for them. And so it's easy to come to the game, but if you're losing, it's hard to kind of cheer, so we want to put the right product out there. And so, yeah, last year was a lot of fun. Hopefully going into this year with, we set the new record for season ticket holders. And so hopefully that thing's just going to continue to pack out and keep filled up, because it's definitely a home field advantage when that place gets rocking. It makes it tough on that guy out there.
It's a pretty ballpark too. I've yet to also find a better hot dog over there. So I had a great time. And me and Zimmel would tailgate some of those games that were like, when you guys were playing in 48, 50 degrees, nobody wanted to be there. And we're in there in jackets hanging out. So yeah, it's a great atmosphere.
It is. It's fun. It's fun. I can say I haven't had a hot dog yet. I haven't. When I got thrown out a couple of times in 21, I just went right to the locker room. So I skipped the hot dog, but I might try one out this year. You never know.
Yeah.
Well, don't get thrown out. Don't get thrown out. But you should have a hot dog.
Yeah, but if you do, on your way out, get a hot dog.
I'm blaming it on you guys when it happens.
That's good. Well, okay. We talked about last year, and Jacob's wearing his Slam Marcus shirt and a bunch of home run hitters last year. We were joking a little bit off air. I'm okay with a small ball. I'm very much the old school, great pitching, bunt the guy across. What's the philosophy coming into the season? Is it still like, hey, we're looking for exit velocity, or do you have guys now that you go, okay, we're hitting for average, we're just going to try to win 2-1, 3-2 games?
Yeah, I mean, the crazy part about our philosophy is it hasn't changed since I've been here since 2016. It ran into last year where just some older veteran hitters understood their counts, understood their leverage. And obviously when the wind starts blowing out, it's a very hitters-friendly ballpark. And so to me, they just did a better job understanding their approach and what they were trying to do, where maybe in years past, guys were trying to do too much and, ran out of barrel or pull off the baseball. And so, we're always trying to, our goal is to attack mistakes in the middle field. We're looking to do damage in the middle of the field. If that's a double, that's a double. If it's a home run, it's a home run. But we never actually try to go up there and go, hey, man, I need someone to hit one out here. So we're just trying to hit line drives in the middle of the field. They hit a little higher in the wind, normally tends to go out at our place. And so, and same thing, I think it kind of became the MO of our team, but they were never going up there, I thought, trying to hit a home run. It was just results of really good approaches and really good swings. And so this season, who knows? We might hit 100 home runs. We might hit 40 home runs. I'm not really for sure. We do have some speed guys in there. We might, we stole some bags last year, might be in the same market in this year. But part of that kind of determines on who kind of wins a couple of these jobs we're still waiting to fill. And then more importantly, same thing, how they show up. I know some guys can really, really run that are in those roles. And then I know some guys are more the power guys. And so it just kind of depends on, what our team turns into. But to me, that's a goal of a not just head coach, but on the offensive side. To me, you got to figure out your team. Whatever your team, I understand. I like it home runs because it's easy to coach third base, right? You don't put a sign on, they hit homers, and you high five them on the way by. You start putting plays on, it becomes a little bit more stressful. But that's also fun as well. It puts a lot of pressure on that pitcher. So each year it's a new year. And so we'll have to figure it out. I'm in for a lot of home runs because, like I said, that's easy. But it also goes back to our pitching staff, right? If we're only giving up a couple runs a game, then maybe it does become a little bit more small ball market if that's what we need to do to win the baseball game. Because at the end of the day, that's all I care about.
You mentioned that you have some positions open still. Does that mean that you have a ton of talent that it's only 9 places on the field? Or is it like, hey, we're still trying to find somebody to cream rises to the top?
Yeah, a little bit of both. We lost 5 guys on our everyday starters from last year's team. And so we lost our entire infield besides our first baseman. So there's multiple guys right now pushing for some of those jobs. And, my staff's probably tired of me saying, hey, what's the starting lineup? Because every day it seems to change, which to me is a good problem. When it's set in stone from the very get-go, that means that's probably your guys, and then they're way ahead of the other guys. And so, and then still some of our outfield positions, same thing. There's some guys that are really battling for it. Some guys might have played better last week, but, really and truly, this weekend's the most important for those guys to try to be in that starting lineup because whoever's hotter going into opening weekend are probably the guys that are going to get the start. But you'll see guys get their chances, especially early. Last year we were kind of more set because those guys had kind of earned it. They were older guys, veteran guys, and we kind of had a couple guys we mixed in. So, some guys are definitely making it more challenging on us because of how well they played in this early spring.
Can you talk about just how you guys managed that y'all got last year? I always thought that's what your staff probably did. One of the best things is just like his team's skyrocketing. Everybody's starting to cover him. I work for one of the biggest, TV companies. They own 20 stations in Texas. And it seemed like everybody had y'all at some point during that run. What does that take? Just getting in these guys.
Yeah, that's cool. I think I think somebody wrote the stat out during our regional, just the week of the regional. I think there was 1 million clicks on our website just alone, and so that just shows you what athletics can do. For the university and our new president, he's awesome and understands that. And but to me, it just goes credits to our players, just how hard they played, how hard they worked, and what they've done for it. And I love when they get the credit for it because to me, they put all the time in and put all the effort in. And so, but yeah, it's fun to watch out there. We have media day today, so there'll be some cameras out there. And to me, that's awesome. Anytime we were ranked last year, or anytime we had something going on that was in the media, some people kind of steer away from it. I congratulate our guys. Hey guys, we were ranked number 10th this week. That's awesome. Not where we want to be. We still got 9 spots to go, but congratulations. Or hey, you're the pitcher of the week. That's awesome. You guys have played so well. You deserve this recognition, but we're not where we need to be. And to us, we always talk about, I said it earlier, about trying to be in the present moment. And that's where as coaches you get worried about, right? You get this hype, you get these, these Twitter followers, or you get these people coming out to interview you, and all of a sudden you're like, hey, I've made it. Like we're there. It's like, well, hey man, we're in week 7 of the season. We got a long ways to go. So if you start worried about or patting yourself on the back, this game will humble you really, really fast. And so you got to just stay day by day, stay where your feet are, stay in the present moment. And that's what last year's team was so good at.
I think everybody breathed a sigh of relief too when the university extended you. So I was celebrating once I got that email. I was like, oh, perfect. This is amazing.
This place is special, man. And we're building something special. So I couldn't be more fired up to be here and have that 5-year extension. So it was awesome for my family and I.
For sure.
Oh yeah, no, it's kind of a relief too, that you can kind of think to yourself, all right, this is where I want to like my home to be, which is, I mean, it's hard to put a value on that. You know what I mean? Like just the comfortability of knowing like this is my home ballpark.
Yeah, for sure. I think last year was technically going into the last year of our contract. So, you can let that stress you out. To me, I control what I can control, and however the chips fall, they fall. And so, but yeah, it gives you a lot of comfort. It really helps in recruiting when guys go, hey man, like I see you're going to be here, through my junior year for sure, or my senior year, whatever it might be. And that really helps out families understand the security of the coaching staff being here. And like I said, keeping my staff together is a huge deal. And so yeah, that's nice. Yeah. We moved back here in 2016 and had our daughter in 17 and had our son in 21. So this is truly home. Hooks is where I'm from, and and all my family's still back there, and that's where I grew up. But really for the latter part of my career, of my life, San Marcos is home, and so we're excited for it. And we got some other cool plans we're going to unveil here soon. And so we're just trying to keep taking this program to the next level.
Ooh, a little tease there. I like it. That's how you work the media.
Yeah, but I gotta mix it in there.
I like it. We talked to a bunch of different coaches about this. I am a recruiting nerd. I love to talk to college coaches about what the pitch is. So say Jacob is an 18-year-old on his mom's couch. What's the pitch to get him to come to Texas State to play baseball?
You just want me to walk to the river or not?
All right.
Okay.
No, I mean, for us, it's a bunch of different things, but the biggest thing right now, like we've been talking about, is just the momentum in our program. Back in 2019, they spent $65 million on our athletic department, which got us all new facilities with locker room, weight rooms, offices, video rooms, training rooms. Obviously, our field is beautiful, and they added the turf in 19, and we're not satisfied. And like I said, talking about the future plans of our program, and to me, we're just at the doormat of what we're trying to do here. And so we've been to a regional before. We've been to a regional final before. We've never been to super regional. We've never been to Omaha. And that's our goal every single day we wake up is how do we get this place there? And this program deserves it. This university deserves it. And when we go to Omaha one day, that river's going to flood with people when we celebrate. So you want to be part of it or not?
I'm here for it, Coach. Let's get to Omaha. I love that city, and I'd love to see you guys play there.
I'm ready to sign a paper.
I'm in.
You talked a little bit about this, Coach, but just culture and how that has helped build the atmosphere y'all have right now. Do you think you have the funniest team on campus? I think so.
They're pretty good. We had our dinner the night, our leadoff dinner, and this team's got some personality. They came out with some dancing and some choreographed stuff, and then Austin Smith and Dixon got there and sang. And
first line, every road's got a long first mile. Everybody's got a dreamer's dream. Yeah, we've only got so much time. You ain't getting much.
They're kind of got it going on right now. So I'm excited about it, and I love that. Right, I love different personalities on our team. It's usually the pitchers that bring out the personality because they pitch one day and they got 6 more days to talk trash or be funny or whatever it might be. And so it's a fun time. And so it's a good group. But that's how I know our team is close, is when there's all these jokes going on and they're laughing and they're talking, and it's not just pitchers in one group and hitters in one group, or more importantly, seniors in one group and freshmen. They're all just mixed in there. And that's something we're big on is, hey, man, everybody's got a role. Everybody's just as important. Doesn't matter what year you are or what role you play. You're part of the family. So let's go make this thing happen. But they probably get that from their coach, how funny they are.
Would you believe me if I told you that the Domingo Ayala video y'all had posted like forever ago when Harrington was still here was the #1 ever viewed video on Texas State Athletics YouTube page?
Domingo.
Sí. Grab a seat.
That's I'm Coach Harrington, the head baseball coach here at Texas State, and you're in my seat.
So go ahead and sit in that seat. There's 3 open seats, my man.
Glad you're here. Big weekend for us. Tonight, our big time leadoff dinner, where we've had the likes of Roger Clemens, Paul Goldschmidt.
Who are those guys? They still play or what?
Was it really? That's awesome.
So I think y'all have been the funniest team for a long time.
That's awesome. I doubt it beat the Longhorns down from Stivers, though.
Oh, yeah, true.
I might have to recheck that one. But, yeah, that was actually right before I got back. They brought Domingo in, and that dude's hilarious. So I think he's a science teacher or something. So in real life.
He sent that. Jacob sent that to me this week and was like, "Can you believe how funny this is?" And I was like, "I feel like I've seen it," and I'd watched it before. So yeah, I'm part of the reason that it's gets so many clicks. I've watched it multiple times now.
That's good.
Good. Thanks, Coach. This was a great interview, man.
No, I appreciate you guys. Obviously, let us know if you want to come out, get some BPM, whatever it might be. You got to get out of North Dakota for that to happen. But we got North Dakota State coming in this year, so just hop on their flight and get on down here.
So the thing that stuck out to me the most in that conversation is that now, like, that they've gone to the Standford Regional, that's what they want to do every single year. And if they're not playing in postseason, it's unsuccessful, both for the baseball team and the softball team. It's like, if we're not playing in May or June, why are we here? You know,
I agree with that. However, I would like to point out that he said that I was a slow ball pitcher, and I think that I could get it by some guys. Just give my arm a little bit of time to warm up, and I think I could be breezing guys off the plate.
even before this conversation with him, I had asked you, what do you think you could top out on right now? And you were like 85, 87, you know, and I was like, I don't know. We put some Tiger Balm on you. It's the right day. You're on a hill.
I'm telling you, man. I'm telling you, every day I sit in the office and I play with a little baseball. I work on the different hands. I work with the different. I sometimes when I'm the only person there, I do lunges. Put my hand above my head and do some lunges. Get the hip flexors ready. You know, baseball is the only sport where you don't have to be really cut to be playing it. And I might mess around and end up in a beer league this year, just breezing guys off the plate. I'm good, man. Big lefty, hefty lefty. I'm here for it.
Dude, yeah. Oh, that's an odd look too. So you don't have to be that, you know. I think if you had told him that, he would have been like, hey, could you sign tonight? We get you out of San Marcos.
I told him I was left-handed, and he still was like, some guys change of pace. I'm cool with it. You know, if I'm throwing 75, 85 miles per hour and the ace is throwing 95, change of pace, man. I'm trying to win us a title.
Nice.
Nobody would give more blood, sweat, and tears than Andrew Zimmel to bring a title to Texas State.
Mm-hmm. They called you the Babe Ruth of Bandera, didn't they?
Something like that.
And then you threw out your elbow. So.
Yeah.
Shout out Alan Zimmel.
I'm built like a piece of white bread in the water, bro. Falling apart.
Awesome. Well, hey, if you watch this one back to back from Texas State's media page, let me know. Was this better than their media day? I think Trout had a lot of fun. So thanks for watching.
Thanks for listening. New episodes out every Thursday. Follow the boys on Twitter. Eat 'em up. Eat 'em up.